Good evening, Stevens Point. I'm Florence Anderson.
And I'm Theo Meyer.
This week in SPTV, there are multiple investigations happening around Stevens Point. Campus Radio Day is coming, and Wisconsin dairy farms are finding their place.
All this and more when we return.
On Monday, September 30th, the Stevens Point Police Department responded to investigate an altercation on the 1000 block of Portage Street. According to the police department news release, a 22-year-old female victim had exited her residence walking to her vehicle where she was approached by an unknown male. There was a brief altercation that led to the victim being scratched multiple times on her left side and a cut in her shirt with an unknown object. The victim did strike the male suspect with a closed fist to the left side of his face before the suspect fled onto Portage Street. The suspect has been identified as a white male with facial hair, with a tall, average build, and wearing a dark, long-sleeved shirt. The Stevens Point Police Department has not apprehended any suspects at this time. SPTV will continue coverage as the investigation continues.
A safety notification was sent out to all students about the incident on the 30th and another related circumstance to the previous night. 2 separate students were harassed or threatened while they were walking out late in Stevens Point. SPTV's Florence Anderson has more.
Due to safety concerns for students, staff, and local residents, the UWSP Police wants to reassure the public on how safety and perceived safety is very important.
Over the weekend, there was a couple incidents that concerned us that involved some students. One student was walking back from Lot W and was kind of creeped out, felt that somebody was following her. The city police department, which we work very closely with, had an incident that involved another student where she lived, where she was accosted by a male subject, and was able to fight him off, and he left. So
police believe there's a possibility the two were connected, but do not have complete confirmation. Students were informed of the situations not to scare them, but to protect them.
An informed campus is a safer campus. We want to make sure that people have the right information and that they definitely feel safe. You know, they should be concentrating on their schoolwork and not having to worry about walking to class or something bad happening to them.
Security wants students to feel safe when reporting an incident, even if drunk or intoxicated. They also want students to know that there is no incident too small to report. The campus security offices can be found in the George Stein building right behind the smokestack on Maria Drive. This is Florence Anderson with SPTV News.
All safety of students and staff is the priority of the campus security. Their office is right next to Thompson Hall on Marshall Drive and can be contacted at any time.
Brendan Dassey's attorneys are petitioning Wisconsin Governor Tony Evers for Dassey to be released from prison. Dassey and his uncle Stephen Avery were convicted in 2007 for the murder of Teresa Halbach through separate trials. This case was also the subject for Netflix show Making a Murderer. Well, Dassey claims at the time of the Halbach's murder, and when he talked to police, he said what the police wanted to hear. Dassey's recent appeals to the U.S. Supreme Court were rejected, and Avery is appealing his conviction in state court. Avery's attorney said he is offering a $100,000 reward for information leading to Halbach's real killer. SPTV will continue to follow the story as it develops.
Applebee's Grill and Bar closed its doors for the last time on Saturday. The restaurant in Stevens Point posted a sign on the door saying, "Sadly, we have closed," and thanks to the customers for allowing them to serve the Stevens Point area. Brooke Bishop, an Applebee's employee, told the Stevens Point Journal that the staff was required to attend a staff meeting on Saturday morning. The staff were notified at the meeting and that Saturday would be the last day of business. As the restaurant was being closed, an Applebee's spokeswoman commented saying that closures are a normal part of the business industry. The Applebee's locations in Wisconsin Rapids and Wausau are inviting their local customers.
The Office of Financial Aid and Scholarships has a new scholarship available to undergraduate students. The Tommy G. Thompson Center on Public Leadership offers one scholarship every academic year in the amount of $2,300. The scholarship is intended for undergraduate students who have shown some public leadership that reflects the general legacy of Governor Tommy G. Thompson. The application is due on Friday, November 22nd. The Office of Financial Aid and Scholarships can answer questions regarding the application process and are open to walk-in appointments.
UW Stevens Point recognized as a storm ready by the National Weather Service. UWSP is the first university in the National Weather Service Green Bay forecast area to earn this designation. Point has been a weather-ready ambassador since October 2016. This NOAA partnership aims to strengthen campus resilience against extreme weather. UWSP Emergency Management provides information to students, faculty, and staff members on how to stay safe and prepare for upcoming weather. A brief recognition is happening Monday, October 17th at 12:30 in the Founders Room inside Old Main.
This year is the 125th anniversary of higher education at the University of Wisconsin, Stevens Point. As a part of the celebration, UWSP has organized this exhibition showcasing the long history that the university has. The display is located at the Endon Carlson Art Gallery on the second floor of the NFAC. It is open to the public as of the 16th of September and will be available until October 20th. On the 17th of October, there will be a public reception held from 4 to 6 p.m. led by Bob Wolofsky, a professor of sociology. A member of History Preservation Subcommittee, Carrie Elza, who is also a professor at the university, was excited to bring awareness of the long history of the school, mentioning that through the 5 eras, the university has been there through the changes, both local and worldwide, and has preserved to respond to those changes in a flexible and positive way for students and the community around it. The exhibit holds many relics, such as building namesakes, memorabilia of clubs, and featured elements that include some of the early costumes of Stevie Pointer and some sport uniforms.
The students on the UWSP campus received an email from our SGA talking about going forward from the Point Forward proposal. 18 months ago, the Chancellor created the proposal of Point Forward due to our budget cuts and new plans for the university. A group of representatives, students, administrative leadership, governance leadership, representative faculty and academic advisors, and a facilitator from UW Brenton. The purpose of the meeting was to increase communication, identify shared values, learn from the past mistakes, and create a collaborative process to make curricular and budget decisions everyone wanted in an environment that they could thrive. And recreating this atmosphere, all 3 campuses help improve retention, enrollment, and student experience. To help boost the university reputation. Overall, this email was to notify the students where we stand with the university and future actions. They are all striving to take SPTV will continue to update the campus plan as it develops.
The Stevens Point Fire Department is turning pink this October to support the fight against breast cancer. Although the department will continue to wear red on Friday to support the military, the firefighters are very motivated to get involved. The director of the Stevens Point Fire Charitable Foundation commented on their efforts, saying the department is supporting the awareness and prevention by encouraging the community to pitch in where they can. The fire department will be selling pink t-shirts at Fire Station Number 1 throughout the month of October. The proceeds will help cover medical expenses for one of their colleagues who is battling breast cancer. For more information, contact Jason Pettis or the Stevens Point Firefighters Charitable Foundation.
That's all the news stories we have for you tonight.
Coming up next, we have Alex Strofe with SPTV Sports. We'll be right back after the break.
Warzala, the 7th largest book printer in North America, is hiring students for the semester. We are 100% employee-owned and located right here in Stevens Point, Wisconsin. All shifts currently hiring, with jobs starting at $10.80 an hour. Hours are flexible. For more information, contact the Warzala HR department.
How's it going, everybody? I'm Alex Strofe with SPTV Sports. We start on the hardwood now as the UW Stevens Point volleyball team won a pair of tournament matchups on Saturday down in Iowa. In game number 1, the Pointers defeated Loras College in 4 sets. Senior April Gale had 16 kills and sophomore Maddie Lawson added on 11 of her own. Game 2 was against the University of Dubuque, and it started out just like the first one, with both the Pointers and the Spartans splitting the first 2 sets. But just like the first one, the Pointers would hold on in the final 2 sets for their second win of the weekend, both in 4. Gale and fellow senior Tara Emmy combined for just a not too shabby 44 kills in the second game. The Pointers improved to 16-4 overall and will head down to UW Platteville on Saturday for their 3rd conference matchup of the season. The UW Stevens Point soccer team lost to Illinois Wesleyan University 2-0 on Saturday. The 2 teams would go into halftime completely scoreless. The Titans decided enough was enough with a pair of goals in the 67th and 69th minutes. That's 2 minutes apart, by the way. The Pointers were shorthanded, though, during the match as they were without 2 defenders and relied on 6 freshman players for a majority of the match. Freshman goaltender Miranda Neiman made 6 saves but took her first loss of the season. The Pointers now 6-2-2 on the season. They will be on the road this Saturday against UW Stout for their first conference match of the season. They're off to a good start already. The Pointers are 2nd in the WIAC and are looking to stay toward the top. SPTV's Rachel Ellis caught up with the team to see how they're preparing for the second half of the season.
The UWSP women's soccer team is off to a great start this season with a record of 6-2-2. This year, the team is younger, with more freshmen stepping up to the plate and having more playing time on the field. Coach Dawn Crow admires what her new players have brought to the team and is just as impressed with the returning veterans.
I think that probably the most interesting thing for me is the fact that we thought we were going to have a veteran-type team coming back, and we do, but in the same standpoint, we basically have, we've played as many as and started as many of 6 freshmen this year. So out of 11 players, it's like, oh, all right,
Pressure is an important part of any sport, whether the team is putting pressure on the opponent to surrender the ball or putting pressure on themselves to score. The girls are improving their productivity on their offensive end and are pushing themselves to increase their scoring overall during conference games.
I think there's a little bit pressure consistently, but again, pressure is a privilege. No matter how much pressure I put on the girls or how much pressure we kind of feel from outside sources, it's nothing compared to the pressure that they put on themselves in order to perform. So, it has its perks and has some motivating factors, but for the most part, I think it's more self-driven, self-motivating than anything.
Midfielder Gracie Wendels is proud of just how far her teammates have come this season. The support the girls give each other is crucial to their success on and off the field.
So we've been in some great weather, but that kind of reflects into conference. We always seem to have, games where it's going to be rainy, it's going to be freezing cold, but I think that everyone's mindset has been really good. We've been making sure everyone's, staying on top of school, but also soccer, and we push each other every practice. It's always competitive no matter what.
A little rain and wet grass won't stop this team as they continue to work hard for the most important games yet. The forecast is looking gloomy for Saturday as well when the Pointers take on UW Stout at River Falls. Kickoff begins at 2 p.m. This has been Rachel Ellis reporting for SPTV Sports.
Thanks kindly, Rachel. The Pointers were undefeated in conference play last year and are looking to keep their winning streak alive after their game this upcoming weekend. Now to the gridiron as the 8th-ranked Wisconsin Badgers remained undefeated with a W over the Northwestern Wildcats with a final score of 24-15 last Saturday at Camp Randall Stadium. A week after scoring 35 points against Michigan, the Badgers were held to only 24 against the Wildcats. The Badgers would take only a 10-3 lead going into half, but would add to it in the second half with a field goal and a 68-yard pick six by linebacker Noah Burks. That's a big boy touchdown, folks. Northwesterns would score 2 touchdowns in the last 9 minutes of the game, but their comeback effort was too little, too late. Wisco running back Jonathan Taylor kept his Heisman candidacy rolling, rushing for 111 yards and a score. The Badgers improved to 4-0 and remained at number 8 in the AP polls. They will host Kent State University for their final non-conference game of the season on Saturday. The Milwaukee Brewers season has come to a dramatic ending, falling to the Washington Nationals 4-3 Tuesday night in the National League wildcard game. Catcher Yasmani Grandal put the Brewers out in front with a 2-run home run in the first inning. Eric Thames added on to that with a solo shot in the top of the second, giving the Brewers a 3-0 lead. That's where the offense stopped and the collapse commenced. The Nats hit a home run of their own in the bottom of the third. Strong pitching kept both teams off the board until the bottom of the eighth, and this is where we get started, folks. The Nats outfielder Juan Soto hit a line drive single off Josh Hader into right field, and a fielding error by Trent Grisham dug the Brewers' grave. The Nationals scored 3 runs to give them a 4-3 lead, and the Crew were unable to score in the 9th inning. That ended their season. Josh Hader took the loss for the Brewers, while Steven Strasburg earned the win for the Nats. That's not the ideal way to say adios on a great season. Moving on now, folks, your good friend Alex. That's me. I have a recommendation for you. On Saturday, UW Stevens Point hosts UW River Falls in a WIAC football matchup. SPTV has that game, which will be streaming on the UWSP Athletics YouTube page with kickoff scheduled for 2 p.m. My recommendation is to watch that. That's pretty much all. That's all the sports stories we have for you this week. Up next is Brenton Canese with entertainment. I'm Alex Strofe. Thanks for kicking it with me right here on SPTV Sports.
Welcome back, Pointers. Get ready to rock and roll. WWSP 90 FM is celebrating College Radio Day with live performances from local Wisconsin artists. Jake Zahn takes a closer look.
On Friday, October 4th, WWSP 90 FM, UWSP's radio station, will be throwing an electrifying experience to celebrate College Radio Day.
So College Radio Day is essentially an annual holiday that we celebrate here at 90 FM. It's also a nationwide thing. It started back in 2010 out of New York City. Essentially what its goal is to raise awareness of college radio. And so people that generally wouldn't listen to college radio, this is the day that we really aim to appeal to them. And we also like to appeal to unsigned, independent artists. And we kind of scratch their back, they scratch ours. They help us put on a concert on College Radio Day, and they get some airtime out of it as well.
They even mentioned the bands that will be performing during the day.
We're going to hear Scorched Waves, which is actually a Stevens Point-based band, which is really cool. They're actually a couple of high schoolers from SPASH, which is the Stevens Point area senior high here. And then we will also be hearing Bloth and Cave Paintings. Cave Paintings is, I believe, an Appleton-based band, and I interviewed them last year, and that was really awesome, and I really wanted to bring them back. And then Bloth, who is one male musician who makes like keyboard music and like synthesized alternative rock, dreamy stuff, which is really cool. So we'll have a really big variety.
College radio is always really, really fun. It's one of the few times each year that we get bands in studio, play a couple acoustic songs, we get to interview them, they hang out for an hour or two, and just chat. And then eventually, obviously, we cap the night off with a free concert. This year in the DUC Laird Room with the 3 bands that are coming through, 2 from Appleton, 1 from right here in Stevens Point. And it's a really, really fun event for the entire staff, the general staff, the executive staff, and a lot of other general members as well.
I'm Jake Zahn reporting, and this is SPTV News.
For more information, visit WWSP 90FM's website. The UWSP's Department of Theater and Dance kicked off their season with a stage reading of The Spiritualist. The comedic play follows Rosemary Dunn, who communes with the spirits of the dead composers as they receive her help in writing their unfinished symphonies. SPTV's Theo Meyer has more on the story.
This past Friday, the cast of The Spiritualist had their second performance on the UWSP main campus after their debut performance on the Marshfield campus the day before. This show was a staged reading with 11 cast members and 4 performances. A stage reading is a recent addition to the UWSP Theater Department within the last couple years. This selection is very special to director Jared Hanlon. He had this to say.
The playwright was one of my mentors in graduate school. The woman who originally played Rosemary Dunn was also one of my mentors. And I got to be an actor for this story in this format there.
The show is deeply embedded in symbolism and meaning. The performers dig deep into their roles so that they can relate and embody their characters. Lead actress Elena Kramer and stage manager Jamie Foda shared their appreciation of the show.
I love my scene with Clara Schumann. She's the only female ghost, and it's such a huge turning point in the show, and I love that the playwright chose to make it one of the only moments where we have 2 women on stage, and I think it really speaks to this idea of power and friendship.
I really like the end. It's so touching and it's so cute, and I liked that he brought them together. Two people that you don't think would mix, he brought together a skeptic and a believer, and they brought out the best in each other.
There will be another staged reading in second semester called The Six-Fingered Woman, so if you think you missed out, you'll have another chance to enjoy this unique style of performance. This is Theo Meyer with SPTV News.
To find out more about the UWSP Theater and Dance Department and upcoming performances, you can visit the university website under College of Fine Arts and Communication. A heartwarming musical set in small-town Wisconsin, The Spitfire Grill is his second production in the theater and dance season and opens next weekend. The Spitfire Grill musical uses the same cast as a 1996 film, but changes the plot, adding folk, bluegrass, and pop music in their soundtrack. The musical even includes a polka band. While starting a new job at a diner and developing a relationship with the owner and a waitress, the 3 female protagonists find strength, support, and healing within each other, which helps bring the small back to life. The musical is shown in the Studio Theater of the Noel Fine Arts Center. Show dates are from October 11th through the 12th and 16th through the 19th at 7:30 and 12th, 13th, and 19th at 2 p.m. matinees. Centertainment Productions will be having a general trivia contest next Tuesday at 7:30 p.m. in the Basement Brew House located in the DUC building. This particular contest will feature questions based on music, video games, and celebrities, to name a few. Most trivia questions will be focusing on current trivia rather than randomized questions. This trivia night is open to all students who are up to having a good, friendly competition with each other. But that's not the main reason why this certain event is being put on for students.
I try to base all of my events off of being like stress relievers for students. So I did yoga and smoothies a couple weeks ago, and I feel like that was a really good opportunity for people to just have fun and forget about all the schoolwork they had to do at the time.
If you are interested in attending this event, it will take place on Tuesday, October 8th, starting at 7:30 p.m. located in the Basement Brew House, which can be found on the lowest floor of the DUC building. This event is free for both students and faculty on campus. For more information, you can contact the Centertainment Productions staff. That's all the entertainment stories we have for you this week. Coming up next is Ian Welsh with Pointer Politics. I'm Brent Dickinese with SPTV Entertainment.
UW-Stevens Point is home. It's a university where professors know your name and get you involved in research.
They inspire us to realize big dreams.
At UW-Stevens Point, sustainability is what we stand for.
Our beautiful campus encourages exploration, developing new fields, and problem solving for the real world.
It's a great place to launch your career.
UW-Stevens Point is home.
Apply today at uwsp.edu.
Welcome back, Pointers. Taking a look at some state news, U.S. Agriculture Secretary Sonny Perdue is warning family dairy farms that it will be difficult to stay in business if they don't increase in size. Perdue said, "In America, the big get bigger and the small go out." The Ag Secretary spoke at the World Dairy Expo on Monday in Brenton. Dairy farmer Jerry Volenick spoke with reporters at a news conference shortly after Perdue's presentation. He commented on what Perdue said regarding small dairy farms, saying that there was no place for him or his farm based on what Perdue had said. According to the State Department of Agriculture, Trade, and Consumer Protection, Wisconsin has lost 551 dairy farms this year. Now, on a national level, House Democrats are moving fast in the impeachment probe. They're trying to get documents and speak to key witnesses in the Ukraine scandal as the president and his allies fight back. CNN's Suzanne Malveaux has the details.
House Democrats escalating their impeachment strategy as 3 committees issue a subpoena to Rudy Giuliani, ordering President Trump's personal attorney to submit documents related to Ukraine.
We've asked for his documents. We'll then talk to his associates and then decide whether to bring him in at that point.
Giuliani's stunning admission in a CNN interview that he pressed the Ukrainians to investigate former Vice President Joe Biden and his son fueled the Democrats' decision. The 3 chairmen suggesting he has evidence in the form of text messages, phone records, and other communications, indicating that you were not acting alone and that other Trump administration officials may have been involved in this scheme. Giuliani says he's undecided on whether he will appear before Congress.
Oh, I don't know. I'm weighing the alternatives. I'll kind of like go through it. I'll get all my evidence together. I'll get my charts.
This, as a source tells CNN, Secretary of State Mike Pompeo was also on the July 25th phone call with the Ukrainian president. When questioned about it last week, Pompeo deflected.
What do you know about those conversations?
So you just gave me a report about a high-seek whistleblower campaign, none of which I've seen.
A source familiar with a recent call between the president and the Australian Prime Minister tells CNN that President Trump pressured him to help Attorney General William Barr review the origins of the Russia investigation. The White House dismissing the report, calling it part of a previously announced investigation.
It's okay to cooperate with Mueller to get Trump, but it's not okay to cooperate with Barr to find out if Trump was a victim of an out-of-control intelligence operation. We're not going to have a country like that.
President Trump and his allies called out by the intelligence community inspector general, who was a Trump appointee, forcefully pushing back against false narratives that the whistleblower lacked first-hand knowledge of the conduct outlined in the complaint. The document stating the whistleblower possessed first-hand and other information, and that the IG determined that other information obtained during the ICIG's preliminary review supported the complainant's allegations. Meanwhile, President Trump's focus, finding out who the whistleblower is.
Well, we're trying to find out about a whistleblower. When you have a whistleblower that reports things that were incorrect.
The whistleblower's attorney tweeting they are entitled to anonymity and is not to be retaliated against. Doing so is a violation of federal law.
Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell now says the state would have no choice but to take up impeachment if the House passed articles charging the president with crimes. That's all the politics stories we have for you this week. Now back to Theo and Florence. I'm Ian Welsh with SPTV Politics.
Thanks, Ian. That's all we have for you this week in SPTV News.
Until next time, Stevens Point, have a great night.